Most people think that saying no is rude, or that it will make them unpopular, or even that they might miss out on big opportunities. But what if I told you the exact opposite is true? What if I told you that one simple two-letter word has the power to completely transform your life? Let me tell you a story about a young man named Adam. Imagine this, a small, quiet town, and in it lives an 18-year-old boy. Adam was the kind of person everyone loved. He was kind, he was helpful, and his biggest goal was to make everyone around him happy. If a friend asked for help moving furniture, Adam said yes. If a classmate needed his notes from a lecture he'd barely paid attention to himself, he said yes. Even a stranger asking for a favor that would make him late would get a warm, friendly yes from him. In the beginning, this felt amazing. People praised him. He was the go-to guy, the reliable friend. He felt needed, appreciated, and valued. He genuinely thought, this is my strength. Being helpful is who I am. But over time, a subtle, creeping change began to take hold. Slowly but surely, Adam started to realize that his days were packed, but his life felt incredibly empty. He was constantly running on fumes, tired from the moment he woke up. He had absolutely no time for himself, for his own hobbies, for his own thoughts. His personal dreams, the ones that used to excite him, were gathering dust on a shelf, always postponed for later. His energy, once a bright flame, was now just a flicker. One cool evening, as the sun was setting, Adam was sitting with his uncle, a wise man who had traveled the world and had a certain peacefulness about him. The uncle looked at Adam, really looked at him, and saw the exhaustion in his eyes. He asked, Adam, do you know the real secret to success in life? Adam, trying to muster a smile, replied, of course. It's all about hard work and being kind to others, right? His uncle just shook his head gently. No, Adam, he said softly, that's part of it. But the real secret, the one most people never learn, is the power of saying no. Adam was completely baffled. How can saying no possibly help anyone? He asked, isn't that just selfish? His uncle leaned in. Think about it this way. Every single time you say yes to something that isn't truly yours to do, you are, by default, saying no to something that is. You're saying no to your own growth. Your dreams, your energy, your future, they all get sacrificed for things that were never meant for you in the first place. Those words hit Adam like a ton of bricks. He started replaying his week in his head. The endless favors he'd run for others. The meals he'd skipped because he was helping someone else. The study time he'd lost. The complete lack of time he'd had to work on his own skills, the ones he needed for his future. The crushing realization dawned on him. He was living for everyone else, except for himself. So the very next day, Adam decided to try something radical. A friend called, asking him to help with a big project that would easily eat up his entire afternoon. In the past, he would have said, sure, I'll be right there, without a second thought. But this time, he took a deep breath. He paused. And then, politely but firmly, he said, I'm sorry, but I can't today. It felt so strange, a little bit scary even. He felt a pang of guilt. But underneath that, there was a new feeling, a feeling of freedom. It was liberating. Over the next few weeks, Adam made a conscious effort to practice this new skill. He started saying no more often. No to extra favors that weren't his responsibility. No to social events that he knew would drain him. No to distractions that were stealing his precious time. No to anything that pulled him away from his own goals. At first, people were surprised. A few were even disappointed. Some of his friends asked him what was wrong, why he had changed. Adam learned to explain it simply and politely. I really need to focus on my own goals right now. I wish I could help with everything, but I just can't. And you know what? A remarkable thing began to happen. The more he said no to the things that didn't matter, the more his life filled up with things that did. He suddenly had more energy than he'd had in years. He had more time. He started practicing football again, a passion he'd long abandoned. He was learning new skills online, reading books he was genuinely interested in, and actively working towards the future he wanted. With this newfound focus, his confidence began to soar. Opportunities he could never have imagined before started to appear, simply because he now had the space in his life to see them and to seize them. Adam finally understood the profound truth his uncle had shared. Saying no wasn't selfish at all. It was an act of self-preservation. It was necessary. It was the only way he could protect his time, his energy, and his dreams. It was the only way to build the life he truly wanted to live, not the one everyone else wanted him to live. Months passed. Adam was a different person, happier, more focused, and more successful. One day, a friend who hadn't seen him in a while asked, "Adam, how do you do it? How do you manage to get so much done and still seem so happy and relaxed?" Adam just smiled and said, "I learned to say no. I say no to what doesn't matter so I can say a powerful yes to what does. I learned to say yes to myself." And from that day forward, Adam's life continued to change for the better. He accomplished more in a few months than he had in years. His energy, his focus, his personal growth, it all multiplied. The lesson here is simple, but it's one of the most important you'll ever learn. Every time you say yes to the wrong thing, you are saying no to yourself. Every time you say no to the countless distractions and obligations that pull you in a million directions, you are saying a resounding yes to your own dreams. If you feel like you're drowning, like your life is full but empty, I challenge you to try this. Start practicing the power of saying no. It will feel uncomfortable at first. Some people in your life might not understand, but slowly, quietly, your life will begin to transform. Because saying no isn't about rejection, it's about selection. It's about choosing you. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, hit that subscribe button and join our community. See you in the next video.